All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Rhythm Rundown with myself, Josh Applebaum, and my partner in crime, my wise guy, buddy here, Cade Harper, as always, coming to you live on a Wednesday, Cade. So, might be a little unusual as people expect us every Thursday night. But when my man says he's got a big date with the GF and he's going to a concert and going out on the town, I said, you know what? Let's not push it back. Let's not finagle it. Let's give you time to get after it, man. So excited to talk these games with you on a Wednesday night. But we got a lot to get to, Cade, because there's a lot of games I want to hit on. Just a few in the NFL. We're still going to act like it's a Thursday. Talk first about Buffalo and Houston. I want to talk Colts and KC. That one's interesting. Pittsburgh and Chicago. And then there's actually a couple games in college that remind me of a rundown we did a few weeks ago. Remember Kentucky and Florida, where that line was moving toward Kentucky. Kentucky was the dog, but actually Rhythm said Kentucky should have been favored in that game, and they ended up having a nice rocking chair winner there for us, Cade, as Kentucky rolled. Well, there's a couple college games, same sort of thing, where they're a dog, but the market's moving in their favor, and Rhythm says they should win the game outright. So super excited to talk about those with you. I got a couple player props as well. But, Cade, I'm going to give the floor to you because you and I a week ago, or almost a week ago, I guess it's a week ago tomorrow, we hit on divisional dogs, and, man, those dogs were barking, man, because we had the Jets, hopefully, plus 13.5. They lose by 13. The importance of shopping for the best price. The Titans covered against the Texans. The Panthers won outright. I know you had a money line play there. I just took the points. The Broncos taking the points covered and won outright. And you also cashed an unbelievable first half under in that Patriots game. What was it? Under 22.5. So once again, those divisional dogs bark louder because of that built-in familiarity. I still got the number here. They're about 53% against the spread over the last decade versus 50.5% for non-divisional dogs. So hopefully, for those of you who listened, tuned in, hopefully you had a good week here, Cade. But I'll give the floor to you because pretty good weekend for us, both from a data-driven perspective, our different approaches to betting, and of course, all the props and shout-outs go to Rhythm because we had some great models we took advantage of last week.
Sure, it was a massive, in terms of whatever, I think we managed it really well. Found a lot of edges where we wanted and kind of just played it by ear and went from there. So yeah, trust the models. known lesson yet again. But we're going to keep it rolling tonight.
Yeah, and one thing we always look toward is, when the betting market is kind of leaning one way and then also Rhythm backs that up. So perfect example, that Broncos game. That was a game where you did see the early move go toward Kansas City coming off a bye. That's something we heard ad nauseum on Twitter and across the betting market. But if you notice, that line got up at one point, I think, to 4.5. Cade started to come back down to 4, 3.5. But the whole time we had that divisional dog angle with the Broncos, as well as Rhythm saying that should have been a Broncos plus 1.6. So I love when you can align some betting system strategies like divisional dogs, also with the betting market in a contrarian spot. And then from the top rope, Rhythm comes in and says, oh, you want to get 3.5, 4.5 with Denver? Fine by us. They should only be getting about 1.5. They end up winning that game on the final drive. So that was great to see. But wasting no further time here, Cade, let's talk about tomorrow's game. Thirsty Thursday. This one's very interesting from a couple different perspectives. I'll start with just kind of the betting market and how it's shaping up because the Bills are going to the Houston Texans. And when we first saw the opener for this game, thinking maybe CJ Stroud would play. Remember, he's dealing with a concussion. Davis Mills has stepped in and actually gone 2-0. I know he beat the Jags in that crazy comeback. He beat the Titans. Titans cover that number. But 2-0 with Davis Mills. But we've seen a huge adjustment. So the drop-off from Stroud to Davis Mills, we saw this game open Buffalo as low as -2.5 on the road. Now we're seeing Buffalo get up to -6. So it's pretty clear. Downgrade Stroud to Mills, even though Davis Mills is 2-0. But this is a huge public play toward Buffalo. They're getting a ton of support in the betting market. Public thinks easy win and cover for Buffalo. Yeah, they've had their hiccups, but they're going to roll in this one. Right now, 81% of spread bets are going Buffalo Bills. However, if you look at the contrarian play, should we be buying low on Houston as an inflated dog that no one wants to touch? Because at DraftKings, only getting 20% of bets. I love that angle, Cade, going against the public in a heavily bet primetime game. At Circa, only 31% of bets, but 60% of dollars are on Houston. And then we can also layer in primetime dogs that are getting 6.5 points or more. Have been really good historically. They're 58% against the spread since 2021. And then if we look at some of the advantages here as well. I mean, Houston, you still have the number one scoring defense in the NFL. If I then go to my Rithmm system plays for this game, let's just see what Rhythm's got cooking here. They're also saying take the Houston Texans. So right now I have 3 models all on Houston, holding your nose, taking the 6 on the inflated dog. First model, it's a caution flag, but it says Texans should be around plus 4.2. Second model, Texans around 2.1. But the one that I'm most interested in is this Green Star recommended play, the best of the best that Rithmm has to offer here, aside from their smart signals, saying Texans should be plus 3.5. So if the public's all over Buffalo, again, if you tell me you like Buffalo 2.5, 3.5, even 4.5, I'll say, hey, you beat the closing line. You made a good bet. But at this point, Cade, should we be buying low on the Texans at home? Maybe they lose this game, but can you lose by 5 or less? I'm thinking of following this Rithmm signal, Green Star recommended play, saying it should be about a 3.5 game. And I might wait to see if I can get a 6.5 here, Cade, with a hook. Why not wait to see if you can get a better price? But as a contrarian play with a Rithmm edge, I'm thinking Texans plus the points here. What do you think for this one, Cade?
Immediately when the line opened, I saw the number and I'm like, oh, dude, it's Houston all day. Because I love fading these super overvalued teams, especially in the primetime spots. It's just there's always public. If you have an MVP caliber player at quarterback like Josh Allen, or just an historical good team such as the Bills in these spots, majority, you're 9 times out of 10 going to get a lot of steam towards those kind of teams. So immediately I wanted Houston. Saw the line move. Obviously, you kind of get the hint. Davis Mills. You kind of go, and then you go, we're not at a bad number here. They haven't been bad, and ultimately, I said it a couple weeks ago. I love this Houston defense at home. They are completely different unit when they're at home in their home dome, and quite frankly, I expect them to give them some problems. I didn't necessarily play a spread because I would have liked to have a higher number personally. I don't think we're getting there, but ultimately I took the under. I didn't play a side in this one. Statistically, I know Houston at home, their games typically will trend to be under. Oh no, that's terrible. Oh no.
Don't worry, man. I'll get it out of here. Give me your breakdown. Let's start there. What do you like about that? Because I'm with you. Primetime under, lower scoring game, and then let's walk through what Rithmm has to say.
I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, they held them to 20 points off of 270 yards last season, and he was terrible. Josh Allen, 9 for 30. QBR, 56. Worst of the year last year, by far. And then again, I mean, they played, Tennessee last week? Houston? Yeah. Put up 16 points. That's 4.5 yards per play. That's problematic. Titans have one of the worst defenses in the league. I don't care who your offense is or who it's led by, period. It's not good. And Buffalo doesn't necessarily have a godly defense, thankfully. But at this point, it's just, can Davis even get the ball out to guys like Nico? Can they run the ball? We don't know if they can move the ball or not. But by God, we're going to hope that their defense can stop them and hope that. But it's a great case. Honestly, they show a ton of contrast. Like, they're one of the league low, 16 points per game. They rank second in yards per play allowed, third in opponent third down conversion percentage. And offensively, they're not much better. So ultimately, it just leads me to take the full game under. If you really just want to get really gross, look into a team total on the Bills side to expect some progression there. But ultimately, that's kind of where I sit personally, is a full game under.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like, hey, primetime unders, you had me at PT unders here, Cade, because they have gone 21-16 this year, 57%. That's kind of right where they've been pretty consistently over the last going on 6 or 7 years at this point. Since 2019, primetime unders 211 and 152, 58% with a 12% ROI. I'll just kind of defer to Rithmm here, of course, because they do have some of these recommended plays going over. Like the first two are caution flags, 47.2, 44.6. This one I would take a lot of stock into because it is a recommended Green Star play. You're looking at around 46. So it kind of reminds me of if you look back toward that last primetime game with the Raiders and the Cowboys. If you remember, Cade, I think that was a 50 total that got down to like 49-48. And it was very clear the sharp money was going under, and then you get some garbage points late that ended up forcing it over. So that'll be my concern. Like a lot of these games we've seen in the NFL have been riding pretty good to the under, and then you get a few scores late to kind of crush you there. So I'm with you. Primetime unders to me, it's a play or lay off, but not a bet against. But again, anytime Rithmm has a green star play, I gotta respect that. So I'll lay off the total. I'm definitely going to take the points here and wait it out, see if we can get a 6.5 here with Houston, because it's right up my alley, Kate. A gross, disgusting dog that no one wants to play with an inflated line when Rithmm says, hey, it should be closer to a field goal game. So I'll hold out for the 6.5. Now, you brought up a guy that I wanted to mention because this was a player prop that jumped out to me. And again, shout out to Megan and Brian and the whole crew for kind of revamping the layout, making it much cleaner and easier to tell us, hey, right off the bat, what do we got for smart signals? What do we got for recommended plays for some of these props? So the first one that I noticed was Nico Collins. And anytime we look at a star player in a primetime game where you go on Twitter and they're going to report that, hey, our most heavily bet player prop is probably going to be, I would say, at least top 3, top 5, Nico Collins to the over. However, if you look at what Rhythm's predicting, Rhythm's going the other way. Nico Collins over under in the betting market is 74.5. Now, I like the fact that it is juiced under, because typically if it's a star player to the over, you're going to be juiced to the over because it's so popular. But no, in this case, it's juiced under. We have to pay a higher price to take kind of the negative approach aside from what the public is saying. So I kind of like that it's juiced under. And I kind of like the fact in a weird way that he's gone over this number in 3 straight games. Now, I think if you're average Joe casual bettor, you're saying, hey, give me the over because he's hit it 3 times in a row. So he had 75 yards against Denver. He blew up for over 130 against Jacksonville, had a good game against Tennessee, 92. So 3 times in a row, he's gone over this number. However, I think you want to say to yourself, if I'm playing the over in this game, am I just getting an inflated number where the public's just riding something that's cashed 3 weeks in a row? Sometimes you see that you have to pay the extra price, the tax, the premium to play a star player to go over when he's done it 3 weeks in a row. So I actually like the fact that he's gone 3 in a row to the over, because it kind of tells me that maybe if he hadn't, this is closer to 70. So maybe we're getting a few yards just from the ability to fade a guy who's been hot. But then I'll throw this to you, Cade. Buffalo Bills, did you know they're actually the number 2 pass defense in the NFL? They're only giving up 169 yards per game through the air. That's the second best in football. Only the Cleveland Browns are better. So if you're the Buffalo Bills, again, you're going to probably say we got to take out the best player on the opposing team, which is Nico Collins. I like the fact that you can kind of fade the Collins hype, go under in this spot. Of course, shop around. Looks like 74.5 is kind of your best number, but there are some 73.5s out there. So maybe you're getting at least a yard here off of what the betting market is saying. But I'll throw this to you, Cade. Any love for the Nico Collins under or any other props in this game that you're targeting?
Yeah, I'll look into it with another model that I had. Same thing I've done the last few weeks. And if they agree, then we go for it. I make Collins at 71.2. So both on the under means I like the under. So yeah, I'm all for it. And typically, I think I like to think these star player, if you want to call it star player unders, or just contrarian unders, we'll just put it that way, have done pretty well, I think, since we've started this entire thing. So just to keep in mind in the back of your head, and that's 10-yard. That's a 10-yard discrepancy almost for that. So on Rhythm's model. So definitely a big jump there. And like I said in the last week's episode as well, I typically will only play the bigger discrepancy ones. By big, this is what I mean. that's like you're getting a lot. You're getting a lot of value there, in my opinion. And as far as other props, yeah, I do. I was on Dalton Schultz's under. I think that was 36, I want to say. Something around there. I don't have it pulled up in front of me. I apologize. It came unprepared.
37.5 looks like. You're pretty much right on, yeah.
Okay. Close enough, though. Yeah, I have his under. I was on a Woody Marks touchdown. And other than that, I think those are the only 3 props that I had in it. But yeah.
Yeah, Christian Kirk is an interesting one too, Cade, because he really hasn't done much last couple weeks. 3 yards against Jacksonville? What does that say? 6 against Tennessee. So this is a guy who really hasn't been involved. But again, kind of the opposite of Nico Collins, where he's done well and you're fading him to regress and go down. Kind of the opposite for Christian Kirk. You're basically buying extremely low on a guy who hasn't even combined for 10 yards in his last 2 games. again, the guy is a deep threat. Can he get you 12 yards? I think one little, in cut, he could cash that one for you. Rhythm's predicting 24.6. So maybe Christian Kirk is also a guy who isn't really being mentioned, is kind of fallen out of favor here. I guess the one thing that will worry you is these are the two Davis Mills games that he hasn't produced. So who knows if that can turn around. But again, Green Star Smart Signal saying really good buy low opportunity on Christian Kirk. Also, Kay, did you notice this? The team at Rithmm hard at work. I think we might be looking at a possible bet sync coming up here, layered into the player prop and the game model page where, hey, you want to go bet it? Boom, it'll take you right to your sports book. So that's pretty huge. Cool. And just tells you that the team at Rithmm hard at work, never just resting on the laurels, but trying to get better, trying to improve, add new features. So that's pretty exciting. It'll just make your life a lot easier to just go, boom, hey, I like this one. Let me go right to my sports book and take me right to it to bet. So again, Kirk, keep an eye on, but Nico Collins is definitely on my radar, as well as taking the points here with the Houston Texans. Now, next game I wanted to throw at you, Cade. Big one here, Colts and Chiefs. Who knows? Maybe a playoff matchup. But this one is interesting for a bunch of different reasons. One, from the standpoint of, do we believe in the Kansas City Chiefs still? I think you can never dismiss them as long as you got Patrick Mahomes. But man, they're coming off a bye. Denver, they were favored by 3.5, 4. They lose outright. They're now 5-5. They're 500. They're in that column, Cade, all the way to the right that says in the hunt. They're not even guaranteed a playoff spot. So you really haven't seen Mahomes in this spot. I heard an incredible stat. I think he's gone to every single AFC title game since he's become the starting quarterback of the Chiefs. So that's really uncharted waters here for KC. So I think you can look at it one of two ways. Either KC is vulnerable and maybe not as good as we think, and they're coming back down to earth, or are they being undervalued and we expect them to get back, to their championship winning ways? I think the jury's out on that. You could probably make a case for both of them, but let's just stick with the game here this weekend. They are at home, laying a short number, which typically is something that's enticing to the public. However, they're playing against the Indianapolis Colts, who traded for Sauce Gardner. They're coming in 8-2. They're playing great. And how do you not take the points here with the Colts? Now, to me, let's look at what the betting market has done. You've seen this line move toward the Colts. A lot of these books opened as high as -4.5 with Kansas City. We've now seen Kansas City get down to 3.5. Closer look at the juice tells me it's juiced toward the Colts side at +3.5. What is it? -115, -120. Like it may get down to 3. So to me, this is an opportunity to respect the market, saying, looks like the side with liability is the Colts plus the points. Maybe they lose this game, but lose by 3 and cover with the hook. Then we go to our rhythm system matches, all on the Colts. First one is a Colts plus 2.6. Second play is a Green Star plus 0.5. That gets you pretty excited if you're getting the 3.5. And Rithmm says it should be a half-point game, basically a pick'em game. And then third model, Colts plus 1.6. So I'm looking toward taking the points here, Cade. I'm wary of that game where the Chiefs become the Chiefs again and they win this game by 10 or 15, but it really hasn't happened. And maybe the angle here is to take the Colts, quote unquote, the better team, better record. They've played better. They're a dog getting points. Rithmm says it should be possibly a half-point game. I'm thinking toward the Colts plus 3.5, Cade. What do you think about this one?
I love it. It's gross. And yeah, it's we're in the same spot again. You know what I mean? I felt last week like it was Chiefs or nothing, and I'm more than happy I stayed off because I would have been biting my fingernails off the entire game. Which the under hit though, so I'm fine with that. However, regress. I think I'm out on the Chiefs at this point. There's something about their defense specifically. They just haven't been as impressive. And Mahomes has been well up to last game, I think. And again, Denver's a phenomenal defense. Another one of those very much so elite defenses, I would say. I think there's going to be a lot more buy-in on the Chiefs, so I'm waiting on a good number for Colts personally. I feel like we can hit a 4. If we hit a 4, I'm slamming everything on the table for it because I would love it. Ultimately, though, my only play, and this is funny because I checked before this, I believe that there is a smart signal on Pat Mahomes under. And ultimately, the Colts are allowing just 230 passing yards per game. And the addition of sauce, I think that helps a ton in this case. I think we see a lot of lockdown on the wideouts of KC this weekend. I don't think he hits 270. That's incredibly high. And now that we're looking at 30-yard difference, yeah, case closed. Sorry, that's it. it's Pat Mahomes under, and Colts if we get to where I want to be. But more than likely, I'm buying the field goal while it's there. But I would hope that it gets higher than what it is.
No, great point by you. Makes total sense. Colts have a really good defense. Colts obviously picking up Sauce Gardner. Also, you look at kind of just the smart signal, as you mentioned, giving you a great edge there, under 271.5. He's I always throw predicted and projected. I make them one word, Cade. Projected. I don't know if you ever do that, but that happens to me sometimes. But yeah, 30-yard gap. And then also, shout out to Rithmm for quickly letting us shop for the best number. Looks like DK is at 273.5. So
yeah,
again, if you like the number, yeah, you're getting a few there. And again, if he lands on 272, 273, you cash that, you lose the under 271.5. So don't laugh. That's happened to me. That happened to me last year with Bryce Young. I will never forget that. I forgot what he was, maybe like over 191.5, and he landed 191. It was something crazy like that. But good point by you, pointing out Mahomes. That's the ultimate contrarian play. You always, from a public standpoint, want to back Patrick Mahomes. And again, he's played pretty well. His numbers are pretty good, but for some reason, he just really can't get it done here. So that's something that definitely we want to maybe bet against. Also, Cade, any thoughts on the total in this one? Because it's a very high number. It's 50.5, but you have seen some books get down to around 49.5. And I'm thinking, is this a lower scoring game? You worry about the Colts a little bit. They lead the NFL in scoring, 32 points per game. But we have a recommended play on the under 50.5, thinking this could be closer to 44.3. I mean, that's a big, that's a full touchdown gap basically between the current number and obviously what Rithmm is predicting here. So do we see a tighter, lower scoring game? I don't think the Chiefs theoretically want to get into a shootout. I think a lower scoring game probably benefits them. But to the advantage here of this smart signal, Cade, any thoughts on the full game under? Again, it is dropping a bit, but you still can get 50.5. Looks like at least a couple books across the market.
Yeah, my one simulation model that I usually run with next to Rithmm, this is the same one as the prop one, where essentially if they agree, then we're good to go kind of thing. Yeah, Kansas City sitting at minus 1.2, and then total final score is looking around 47.4. So same boat. Again, both are agreeing there. I like both. If you're backing a dog, you already kind of want to lean that way. And again, if you're taking star quarterbacks under, I'm hoping to God that you're leaning that way. So yeah, I already had the idea of it. The only reason that this might hit, honestly, is Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if Kansas City might be able to stop the guy, but other than that, I think that's your only one that you have to worry about, honestly.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And again, I like that you really highlighted that Mahomes under. So I'm with you. But yeah, I'm liking the points here. The other thing with the Colts, they're coming off a bye, rest versus tired. I mean, that's an advantage. I know KC just had their bye, but then they just played a tough divisional game against the Broncos. And the Colts, I know KC's defense is good, but they're averaging 32.1 points per game, number one in the NFL. That makes them a dog who can score system match. So whether it's a backdoor cover, whether it's keeping pace, keeping it within a field goal, I'm looking toward the points there with the Colts plus 3.5. Again, Rhythm's got it closer to 1 point, half point game. So I'm liking that one. The other one that I want to throw at you was a prop bet in this game, Cade. I don't know if you have any props in this one, but I noticed there were quite a few smart signals on this one. And what jumped out to me was a receiving yards prop for Josh Downs. Josh Downs is a guy who you can kind of buy low on right now, because if you look what he's done in his last couple games, or his last game in particular against Atlanta, he only had 3 receiving yards, so he really wasn't involved at all. But let's just expand this and go to like his last 5, last 10, Cade. He had gone over this number. So in the betting market, it's 33.5. Rhythm's predicting 59, almost double of what he's predicted or posted here in the market. But let's just look at prior to that kind of dud against Atlanta. He had 57, 39, 42, 56. Again, went under with 24, but then 34, 51. He had gone over in, 6 of his last 7 prior to kind of a hiccup last week. So I'm looking toward maybe Josh Downs getting you a couple big catches here, hopefully going over that 33.5. It is juiced up. But once again, we have a smart signal, which tells us it's a very confident model play by Rithmm in which these specific parameters are matching. And historically, it's hit nearly 2/3 of the time. So any props in this one other than Mahomes for you, Cade? Do you agree with this Josh Downs one? Any other plays maybe for this big game with the possible playoff matchup here with the Colts and the Chiefs?
I didn't before, but I will now. Dear God.
Ooh.
I mean, that's a.
What's your model? What do you have for him in
one,
this
dude.
one?
I make him at 41.
Ooh.
So again, yeah, we're just loading up, I guess. So why not? I guess I'm a props guy this weekend.
Isn't that funny? Some weekends you're like, I love NFL sides, I love totals, I love college, this, that, and props. So I guess that's the important thing. Like, never go into a week saying, oh, I want to bet all sides or all totals. Like, let the board speak to you. Let your numbers tell you where your biggest discrepancy plays are. But yeah, Josh Downs was one that certainly caught my eye. Next one up, Cade. Steelers and the Chicago Bears. Do you believe in dub? Let me ask you first. Do you believe in dub Bears? At some point, we got to start believing in them. They covered the +3 last week for us. Divisional game, juiced up liability. Ben Johnson's got him playing well. I know Caleb Williams is a pinata and likes to get, kind of trolled across the internet. But hey, man, they're winning games. And are you a believer in the Bears? Before I ask you about this game with the Steelers,
it's so fun. It's so funny that you say that.
I see the pain on your face. It's okay.
It's bad because I went to the Bengals Bears game a couple weeks ago. I'm decked out in Bengals gear. I'm with my girlfriend and her family. They know, yeah. I watched that game happen, and I was sitting with I think it was Bengals spread ticket, and yeah, I hate to say it, but yeah, I am a believer now. I was just like, dear God, this team is so back. And then last week, again, they take the lead in the North, and I'm just like, dude, this is nuts. I don't know, but yeah, they're a very talented team offensively. I'm big Ben Johnson fan. I love that guy to death. So
I'm pretty much with you too. Again, you can kick them when they're down, hate on them, whatever you want. There was a great, it was like a TikTok or GIF or whatever it was, Cade, where it was Borat when he gets in the bed in the hotel and it's like King of the Castle. They're very nice. And it shows the scoreboard of the NFC North where the Bears are in first place. So give them their due. I'm a kind of a Bears believer as well, Cade. But again, all this is a long-winded way of me asking you about this weekend's game. One thing that jumped out to me is you've seen this juiced up liability really lean toward Chicago. They're hosting, obviously, the Steelers this weekend. But if you look at the number, it was pretty much throughout the week, -2.5. But a lot of books are juiced -115 toward the Chicago Bears side. And I know. We have all these Tomlin dog systems. And believe me, I've been a big believer in Mike Tomlin as a dog system match. But when I'm looking at the breakdown, 56% bets, 70% money on the Bears at DraftKings. At Circa, 80% bets, over 90% of the money. They match a lot of systems for me, particularly when it comes to winning the game. So I like the Bears to win this game. Right now, they're -2.5 in the betting market. If you want to just lay the points, I mean, I do have conflicting spots. I never like it, Cade. I don't know if this happens to you, where you have a green star on Team A and a green star on Team B. So that kind of scares you a bit because I want them all to really line up the AI, the models, the data, tell me, oh, clearly it's this side. But my first model is Bears -3.1. Now, this one scares you if you like the Bears. It says it should be a pick'em game. But let's defer to the Green Star Smart Signal recommended play, where this is looking at Bears -3.7, so almost -4. And that's your strongest play overall. I'm going to protect myself. I like the Bears to just win this game on the money line. If you look at the money line price, you can shop around. It's around -140. But if you look at the recommended play here, again, you're looking at closer to a 4-point win with a smart signal just to win the game on the money line. The money line splits look really good at Circa, 60% bets, over 90% of the money. I got a lot of systems here. Non-conference favorites straight up. Lack of familiarity typically benefits the better team. They're winning 70% of the time since 2020. Both off a win take the favorite. That's 72% this year and 68% since 2020. And then also, Cade, any intel on Aaron Rodgers? Because we saw he got hurt. I know it's his left wrist, so theoretically, as a right-handed quarterback, it shouldn't matter that much. But I don't know. You got to use both hands as a quarterback. I guess you'd rather it be the left than the right. But if he's not at 100%, if he's favoring it, maybe he fumbles a snap. I don't know. That wrist injury to Rodgers would kind of make me scared to play the Steelers here. So I'm going to follow the smart signal. I like Bears to win this game on the money line. And again, we got a smart signal here saying they'll do just that. But Cade, what do you think about this game? Do you tease Steelers up 2.5 to 8.5? Do you take the points, lay the points? What's your thoughts on Steelers Bears?
Yeah, same boat. So to revert back to your thing of if I'm a believer, I took this team to win the North at like 50 to plus 500 or something around there, whatever. At the beginning of the year. So yes, I am a believer in this team. I love this team at the start, and I'm not necessarily just going to stop now. Ultimately, like I've said in the past, I don't like playing side specifically before injury news when you have as big as a injury conspiracy like Aaron Rodgers himself right now. This guy hates Pittsburgh, or this guy hates Chicago, right? Like if there's one game
from his Packers days,
where he doesn't want to miss, it's going to be this in Chicago. At most, I kind of hope he plays just so we get a pretty good game, because I know the atmosphere is going to be rocking against him big time, especially the spot that they're in. But I agree with you. I took Bears money line at minus 140 on ESPN. I think earlier, a couple of days ago. But yeah, that's where I stand with that. My model had it at minus 2.3, and then again reverting back to Rithmm with kind of conflicting sides a little bit. I'm with you. I played it safe. I took the money line, and then now we can hope and pray on our knees that Mason Rudolph actually does get the nod, and this line goes up, and we get great CLV.
That would be pretty awesome. Yeah, I like my chances with Mason Rudolph on the other side. Also, Cade, like home road. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers obviously got the terrible towels. You got all the, the history and the crowd cheering you on in Pittsburgh. But last couple games on the road, they went to the Chargers. I remember because I played them. They were 3.5, and they got rolled at the Chargers, and that's no home field advantage. The people in LA, they don't even really care about football. Prior to that, they were on the road against the Bengals, the game you went to. Remember, we took the Bengals in the points. They won 33-31. So again, if this was at Pittsburgh, obviously they'd probably be a favorite in that game.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're on the road, Rodgers banged up, we got a smart signal here on the Bears, who are playing great, just had a big win outright against the Vikings. I like them to keep it rolling here and beat the Steelers here at home. So I'll follow that smart signal and go with Pittsburgh. Now, one other player prop I want to throw at you, Cade, before we get to some of these college games. I'm obviously focused on the Patriots. I'm a Patriots fan, okay? I got the over-win total. We already cashed that. No worries. But there was a lot of news today with the Patriots on the road going against Cincinnati this weekend where, hey, Joe Burrow, practice report, it says he practiced fully. Will Joe Burrow play this week? Now, it's tough for Cincinnati. You'd love Burrow to come back. But also, Jamar Chase spit in somebody's face, and it was a Jalen Ramsey, and now he got suspended a game. So, again, you might pick up Burrow, but also you're going to lose Jamar Chase.
It's the most Cincinnati thing ever.
This line has gone all the way. It opened Patriots, I want to say as low as -5, -6. It got all the way up to Patriots -8.5. On the news that Burrow might play, I'm seeing this line get back down to 7.5 or 7. So I hate making a play just on the speculation that a guy might play, because I also heard reports that, and maybe they'll get in trouble if they say he practiced fully and doesn't play. We saw that happen with the Ravens earlier with Lamar Jackson. That all being said, there's a player prop in this game. Like, just for, full transparency, we do have some smart signals saying take the points here with the Bengals. I got a couple models here. Again, it hurts me though, Cade, because you could have gotten 8.5, and now it's down to 7.5 or 7. But maybe this is a closer game, even though the Patriots have done well against lesser opponents. That's all a long-winded way of me saying there's a player prop that caught my eye as I'm looking for this game. And it happens to be Chase Brown and his under rush attempts. Now, I was looking at this, and Chase Brown in the betting market is sitting at around 16.5 carries. Now, it's pretty juiced, -130-ish, so you got to pay a bit of a premium here. He's predicted 13.5. So that's a little 3-yard, rush discrepancy to the under, making you a little excited to play this under. Again, it's a smart signal, so you had me at smart signals. But check this out, Cade. If you look at last week, I believe it says he had, 18 carries, which cashed that over last week against Pittsburgh. He ran the ball a lot. But let's expand this out. Look at all of these red unders that have hit prior to that. I mean, yeah, you give him credit. Had a lot of carries, really, toted the ball a ton in the last game. But prior to that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-0 to the under. So do you play the over because he got you 18 last week and it'll get you at least 17 this week? That could be a public mindset. But if you look at the overall performance and the way that he gets the ball, he's gone under this a ton this year. It also doesn't hurt that the Patriots, there was that stat for quite a while where they hadn't allowed a single guy to go over 50 yards. I think that's no more. I feel like someone went over that recently. But they're only giving up 85 rushing yards per game. Now, this is yards, not carries. That's number one in the NFL, though. And if Joe Burrow comes back, I know you might want to ease him back into it, but are you going to run the ball a ton with Burrow back? No, I think if Burrow plays, that's another angle to think that maybe they throw it more than they rush it, especially not wanting to run it right up the middle or between the tackles against a really good Pats rush defense. So I like this Chase Brown under 16.5. Again, you expand it out. He's gone under this a ton over the last 10 games. Kate, any thoughts on this prop in particular or any other props before we go to college football?
I'll talk on the game first of all, because I have 2 plays in this, and then I'll talk about the prop.
And your boots on the ground, so give me some intel. What are you hearing about Joe Burrow in this matchup?
I don't think he's playing this week. I think next week on Thanksgiving is more ideal, personally. As much as I would like to have him back. Honestly, if you want to hear a hot take with this, if he comes back and he's healthy, here's the thing that you people don't want to hear. Leave Flacco in.
Ooh, tell me more.
The offense is clicking. Why would you not? Like, honestly, it sucks because you take a guy who has been out of rhythm for so long, who is pretty much now injury prone, apparently, with everything he touches. You have a quarterback who is very much so doing very, very, very good at his age. Why do you take him out of rhythm? Honestly, I don't understand it. I like Flacco. I like where he's at. I think he's been just fine. He's not losing games from their offense. They're losing games from their defense. If you flip sides and give them this 2021 defense, they probably win every single game that they have played. Honestly, I can't stand it. I love Burrow to death. Don't get me wrong, but the rhythm that they are in right now, I would not touch a single thing. Now, with that being said, this is not the fan in me talking, believe me. But I took Bengals at plus 8.5 when it was slightly available for today. I was on, I believe those Caesars from earlier today. And I also took them outright.
Whoa, there we go.
I'm sorry.
That's all right, man.
But I know this sucks as a Pats fan. But could the Patriots, they're 17th by DVOA. That is much so below league average. Phenomenal run defense. Love the Chase Brown prop. I have the guy in fantasy. I'm going to continue fading this guy in fantasy until he does something for me in my lineup. Because until then, I'm losing on both ends here. But you have Drake May, MVP candidate. Dude's legit. I like him a lot. He's been amazing. And the one great thing that they do is they do pass the ball, and they're very good at it. But they are 26 in rushing DVOA on offense. So I don't think that they necessarily hurt them in that way, but they're also 28th in passing on defense on DVOA. So if you're staying with me here, obviously, you know what the Bengals absolutely love to do. They love to sling this. Now we go to Jamar Chase. That takes off more than a point off of one of my models. So if Jamar Chase is worth a point, it's a good amount. However, you see a lot of these guys step up. Tinsley, Higgins specifically. You have a tight end that looks like he might be back. You have a lot of guys that are coming back and stepping in. I think that they move the ball and they put up points at big times, honestly, against a really poor passing defense, and they don't really have that much of a pass rush. Now, that could change knowing how bad the Cincinnati O-line is. We know that. But honestly, it's either the over or it's these plays, honestly. And more so, I felt more confident playing these plays in terms of the spread and Bengals money line. And yeah, I don't know, man. It feels like this is just a perfect spot to fade the Patriots. They've just been one of those, they've been too good recently. You know what I mean? It comes a time where you get super hot. You're like, okay, you got to settle down a little bit. You're getting plus 300 on this offense, by the way. I have to take that while it's there.
I don't argue with you, man. They've won 9 in a row. They've exceeded all expectations. They are coming off a mini bye after that Thursday night game, but Milton Williams just got hurt, so maybe that's something to level the playing field a bit. And I can tell you, just in being in New England here, Cade, everyone's waiting for that hiccup, and just it hasn't happened. So we'll see. Maybe this will be the year where they, who knows, win a Super Bowl where all the DVOA, all the stats say they should never have done it, and to the last dying breath of all the analytics, they'll find a way to keep it going. But I'm with you. At least the points, taking the points, that does make quite a bit of sense. You would love Jamar Chase to play, but then the line's probably, as you mentioned, probably like 6 or something less than that. So definitely something to keep an eye out for. But yeah, Chase Brown under rush attempts, that would be at the top of my list for this one. Now, let's talk some college games, because there are a couple that really jumped out to me. And the first one that I wanted to throw at you was the SMU game. So the SMU Mustangs, they are at home facing Louisville. And this one is really interesting because if you kind of look at the way these two teams are trending, they're kind of in opposite directions. Like, obviously, it's a big ACC matchup. SMU is 7-3. They've won 2 straight, 4 of their last 5. Louisville's 7-3, but they lost 2 in a row. They lost against Cal. I think they were favored by like 20 in that game. And then they lost to Clemson. Now, I was happy because I took Clemson there. But again, you've lost 2 straight. SMU has won 2 straight. SMU's at home. It's a very short number. Definitely take SMU, right? Well, Rithmm is saying not so fast. And Kate, I want your take on this one, because we actually opened this game SMU as high as -3.5. The line's down to 2.5. So the line is going toward Louisville. They're only getting around 40% of bets, but 80% of the money at Circa. And you look at what Rithmm is predicting, and I was teasing this earlier because it always gets me excited when Rithmm says you should be favored and win this game when the betting market is giving you points. It's just kind of the ultimate value play. So if we look at what Rithmm is predicting for this game, it says Louisville should be favored by a point. So again, if the line's moving toward Louisville, you can buy low on a team that's lost 2 straight. You can sell high on SMU. I believe SMU is coming off a bye too. So like another reason why you should definitely take SMU, right? Well, no, the betting market, the great equalizer, is moving this number toward Louisville in hopefully a bounce back spot. I was hoping to get a 3K. I don't know if that's going to come. If anything, it may get down to 2 before you know it. But what is your take on Louisville SMU? First thing I noticed was the market move toward Louisville. Didn't make sense because they're quote unquote not playing nearly as good as SMU. But really, I love the fact that Rithmm says Louisville should be favored and win this game. So what do you think, Cade? Should we take the points with the Cardinals here?
Unfortunately, I have to rate on the parade.
Rain away, my man.
I know. I have SMU at -3, and I don't want to call it a bad number because it isn't even flat, but I would like the 2.5. It is what it is. You have a very situational spot with this case. You had mentioned extra rest with the bye week, Louisville back-to-back losses. It was traveling again, and I had them in the Clemson game, and by God, that kicker, man, college kickers,
they're the worst.
They have a big rivalry game next week against Kentucky, and that's obviously probably the biggest game on their schedule that's left, essentially, because they just have nothing else to play for, so they just look forward to the rivalry game, if I'm being honest. You look at the other side of SMU, they still have a chance to win the ACC somehow, but they do. And they need to win this game, and they need to win against Cal, which is the following game. Very winnable games. I have the -3, and as I'm looking, you can probably just end up buying the money line at this point, which is pretty cheap. I think it's around -130, which is what I would advise to do at this point. But they've won the last 5 of its 6 games, and they have picked up a win in every single conference game that's been at home this year, including Miami, who is legit playoff contender, who should be in, and that's a whole nother story. Defense has just been unreal for this team, though. Like, they top 15 in terms of finishing drives allowed and tackling. I mean, like, you name it, it's everywhere. And meanwhile, Louisville has just not been the offensive team that we thought they were going to be. You bring in a guy like Miller Moss, you get Isaac Brown back, and you flop. I'll just say how it is. You literally flop. And the offensive line is terrible by all means necessary. It's been one of the worst in the ACC by far. I just didn't expect this. And stuff rate intended as well. They just haven't been able to move the ball. Offensively, though, Rhett Lashley, this guy loves to sling the ball, but the rushing attack has been doing numbers. And thanks to, obviously, you have a Louisville defense, plenty of explosives on the ground that they let up. So you have a guy like TJ Harden, you have Chris Johnson Jr. That's over like almost 20 explosive plays on the year thus far. And if you think that they're not going to get at least maybe 2, 3 on the ground against Louisville, I have to. They're well rested. They're making a case for an ACC championship appearance. All they have to do is win.
Yeah, so you definitely scared me there as a Louisville guy here. But to your point, with all these factors at play, if you are looking to be a little greedy or careful, my angle would be let's wait this thing out. Like, I'm looking at the juice, and it is juiced a little bit. Like, anytime you see a minus 105 on one side, the other side's minus 115. So the fact that it is fallen toward Louisville, again, they were as high as 3.5 down to 2.5. Let's see if we can just wait it out and we can give me a 3. Like, if I can get a 3 on Louisville, I'll fire away, just because, again, I got to really put some stock into the fact that Rithmm is saying they should maybe be favored in this game. So we'll see what happens in that one. But there's 2 other games I want to hit on with you, Cade. This is a team near and dear to our heart. I just mentioned them a second ago. But the Florida Gators, chomp, chomp. Cade, I even brought some props here. Can you believe it or not? Me and my sister, a couple years ago, we went down to New Orleans. If you've never been, you got to get there. It's the coolest place on earth.
Nice.
Got this little alligator here, chomping. So with that being said, Cade, how crazy am I to think that Florida can cover this number against Tennessee? Because everybody and their mother's on Tennessee. This is a 7:30 game, really popular game, Saturday night. And the line has moved toward Tennessee. Tennessee opened, I want to say they're as low as minus 3.5. Tennessee is now up to minus 4.5. Tennessee right now is getting upwards of nearly 70% of tickets across the market. Of course, Tennessee is ranked. They're 7-3. Florida's been disappointing. They're 3-7. However, once it got to 4.5, I'm starting to see it come back a little bit. I'm starting to see some books get back down to 4. There aren't many 4.5s left out there. And we're doing this live stream on a Wednesday night, so you still have a few days away. But I jumped on the hook with the 4.5 of the Florida Gators. This is just music to my ears here, Cade. No one wants to play the Gators. It's a Saturday night primetime game. They're unranked versus ranked. You're buying low on a team that's lost 3 straight. You're a conference dog. Florida has the opportunity to play spoiler, no expectations. Tennessee's got to win. They got to keep playing well here for their chances in the college football playoff. I like the points. Call me crazy. I like chomp here, maybe to lose by 4 or less. We have 2 recommended plays on Florida. First one says Florida should be plus 3.4. Second one says Gators should be plus 2.9, and that 2.9 is a Green Star recommended play. So I know it looks gross, I fully admit, but everyone's playing Tennessee. It's gone up toward Tennessee. It's starting to come back down. If you want to hold your nose, go hazmat suit with the Gators, chomping, I think you should do it right now and grab the 4.5. Cade, am I crazy, or do you think Florida can show up and keep this within 4-3, field goal game?
I'll do you one better.
Whoa!
Grab your seatbelts. All right.
Strap in.
We're going all the way. Give me Florida to win this game.
Let's go.
I'll keep you. Grab your notepad, all right, kids?
I got it.
Look at the history of this game, of this rivalry. You want to tell me the last time Tennessee has won in Gainesville, Florida?
Were you born, Cade?
No.
You're a young man.
It was 2001. And
I was born. I was in middle school at that point.
They barely lost. It was by like 2. And I don't even remember who the quarterback was, again, because I wasn't even thought about back then. It doesn't matter. They haven't won. That's like, what is it? I mean, how many years is it? 20? That's 24 years? What are we doing here? Yeah, there's a reason the line is what it is. There's a reason the game time is at 7:30. Nobody just goes into this place in a conference game, much less, and just beats up on Florida at night, unless if your name is probably Texas A&M or I don't whoever else has went there the last 2 years and done it, and I was probably on Florida still. But nonetheless, they have nothing to play for. Absolutely nothing. Season's done. You fired your coach. You have your dead cat bounce game, and then you're just done. You cover against Georgia. What else are you playing for? You're just playing to play spoiler. That's why I love this team. It's disgusting. But honestly, I like them to win. I was too high on this team because I had this game circled regardless of how the season went out. I was thinking I took Florida's team total and I took Tennessee's team total. So not only is this just that, I'm hedging Tennessee's team total right now, which I have the over 8.5. So either way, I guess I am sort of happy in a way if they do win. Either way, I'm not calling this a hedge. This is a legitimate play for me. They're winning this game.
Well, I love it, Cade. And shout out to Rithmm too. We got this new indicator. Sometimes I discover new stuff just doing these streams with you, but short dog play. It's pretty cool. Sportsbook thinks this team is the underdog, but our model sees a real chance for an upset. The odds make this a smarter bet than it seems. So to your point, you think they can pull off the upset? Pretty decent number there. I think you're getting, 160? Again, I grabbed the 4.5 because touchdown 7, field goals 3. You do the math there. 4.5 with the hook will cover you. Obviously, I'm hoping they went outright for guys like you, Cade, who are bold enough to go money line. But yeah, it's a primetime game. Everyone's playing Tennessee, but the line's coming back to Florida, and Rithmm says it should be closer to a field goal game. So chomp, chomp, my man. Let's go Gators. Let's get it done in the swamp here. That'll be pretty nice.
I'll order a Gator head and wear it on stream next week, by the way.
Nice. I'm going to hold you to that, man. Yeah.
Please don't.
Now, this one, Cade, I texted this to you, so you know, I think, what this final game is. But this is a game that probably isn't getting much attention, is not getting a lot of, eyeballs or really betting attention across the market. But it is a game in the AAC, UTSA, at home against East Carolina. Now, if you look at these two teams, East Carolina, the better team, right? They're 7-3. They're coming in here against UTSA, who is 500. If you look at UTSA, though, they've played pretty well recently. I guess they've exchanged wins and losses, but in particular, they've played really well at home in the Alamo Dome. That thing gets really loud in San Antonio. They're 3-1 at home this year. And the line's going toward UTSA because it opened East Carolina -3 on the road. Now it's down to 2.5, even though only 38% of bets, but 81% of the money is on UTSA. So the line's going toward the Roadrunners, even though the public likes East Carolina. I was saying, hey, can I hold out and get a 3? I don't know if that's going to pop up or not. You can kind of wait it out, see if maybe the juice or an outlier book gives you that key number. But this is really the reason why I have UTSA on my radar, Cade. First place says UTSA -2.6. Again, favored to win by a field goal. Second model, -3.1. Again, favored by a field goal. So if we kind of stay true, deja vu, to what we just talked about a bit ago, where, again, I keep going back to that Kentucky game against Florida because it was a great test case where betting market was leaning toward Kentucky. I think they were, 3.5 down to 3. Rithmm said they should be favored by 3. Again, didn't expect a blowout win. What do they win? Like 38-7 or something. But the market was saying Kentucky. Rithmm said play Kentucky. Well, in this case, market's saying UTSA. Rithmm is saying play UTSA. So again, may not be the most popular play in the world, but I'll throw it at you, Cade. Any love for UTSA here? What do your numbers say? And what do you think about the betting move and the Rithmm prediction?
Another approach that I had. I'm on UTSA team total, so technically this is another hedge opportunity for me. However, with that being said, if I did not have that, 100% the Roadrunners are the play in this game. Model makes ECU -1.7. You already have the points there. But for this case in particular, I would take them to win as well, honestly. You can hope that that number goes higher, but I would take them outright. It's quietly one of the better spots, honestly. The ECU team has been playing very good, and they're coming off one of the biggest wins, much biggest game pretty much like that they've had. And since they've pretty much been in the conference, I mean, you go and beat Memphis, like that's huge going into the conference championship race that they're in right now. And it's kind of nuts, but I mean, there's a lot of optimism of them on the outside of looking in, of being the final group of 5 spot. They need a ton of help in order to make that case happen. I don't think it does, but there's avenues and there's possibilities of it. Their offense, they've improved as the season has went on, obviously. And you have a guy like Hauser who's almost up to like 3,000 yards. But again, this is not an easy road trip. And they have struggled away from home against these really good teams and has in the past had pretty rough games in the Alamo Dome. I don't know if it's cursed. I don't know what it is. But the enormity of last week's game, do not be surprised if Eastern Carolina comes out sleepy, slow, sluggish. I think it might be it's going to be a flat spot. And you go to UTSA side, super up and down. This team total should have already hit. I shouldn't have to worry about this. I probably could have already played this by now. But no, since Jeff Traylor and company want to make me sweat it out, I'm perfectly fine with it. They might be a bit better than their record, though. That's the way I look at it. Historically, Traylor's really good against the spread in November. This is one of the main reasons why I played this total, honestly, in team total. And they've turned a corner offensively in the recent weeks. You have a guy like Owen McCown, and they are rolling through teams. You have Tulane, who just got into the college football playoff poll last night, who is now the 12th seed. They whooped up on them. Charlotte, who is really bad, but they still beat up on them just recently. But again, the offenses look promising. And again, they've gotten into trouble against these physical teams, USF, North Texas. Those teams aren't ECU. So that you don't have to worry about that. They just haven't, ECU for this matter, they have not shown that they can consistently win in these close games, particularly, especially away from home. So expecting it to be close games from start to finish, ultimately it makes me automatically go to UTSA. And with me having the team total, I'm going to root for that to cash. I'm still going to play my hedge with ECU money line. But ultimately, yeah, if I didn't have that or anything involved, the spot screams Roadrunners.
Love it. What a way to end the live stream here, Cade. Love it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and we got to get your team total, so I'll root for you on that one. But yeah, I just love the fact that you get the betting market aligning with Rithmm. Hey, that gives me a lot of confidence there to fire away. So with that being said, Cade, wrapping up the stream as always, make our buddy Parker happy. Just going to give a quick rundown of our favorite plays in college. Mention a lot of these, but UTSA plus 2.5, just hit on that one. I'll see if I can maybe get a 3, but I don't know if that'll happen. Florida plus 4.5, gross one that, again, Rithmm has a great edge on. Louisville, you scared me, 2.5, but I'll wait for a 3. Chicago Bears money line, Colts plus 3.5. The Josh Downs over 32.5 receiving yards interested me. Chase Brown's under 16.5 rush attempts. Houston plus 6 tomorrow night. I'm going to hold out for the hook 6.5. And Nico Collins under 74.5. Cade, I know you're fired up, ready to go. Give me a few of your top plays upcoming, starting tomorrow and going into the weekend.
Yeah, with tomorrow, took the under full game on Houston and Buffalo. Took that along with our props that we discussed as well with Woody Marks touchdown, Dalton Schultz under, Nico under now. And it looks like I'm waiting on Colts to get to the number that I want, but I'm hopping on that Josh Downs play with you. I love where that model sits out there. I think there's one other one in that one. No, there wasn't. That was it. It was just Colts, and I'm probably going to end up taking that. We had some, Bears, put Bears on the money line, as well as Chase Brown's under until he gives me a reason to put him in my fantasy lineup. Keep doing it. I love doubting you, kid. And then I took SMU. I took them at the -3. I have Florida plus 4.5. I have them outright, as well as technically ECU. But again, my play, if I had to, yes, would be UTSA. So yes, take UTSA. Do not tail my Eastern Carolina pick. That is just for my sake. Unless if you took the team total too, then you can't. But whatever.
Yeah, touche. No, I like when we overlap though, so that's good to hear. But yeah, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Another Rithmm Rundown here, not on a Thursday, but on a Wednesday. But Cade, excited to get you off the hook there for tomorrow night so you can have some fun because we love betting, but every now and again you got to make the GF, the wife, the significant other happy. You got to go out in the real world and actually be out there doing things. So hope you have a great night tomorrow night. Reminder, as always, every Thursday 6 o'clock you can find us here on the Rithmm Rundown. We do have a great promo code for you guys if you are interested in Rithmm, want to give it a shot. We have that Start 25 promo code to give you 25% off. Also have the Refer a Friend promo. The leaderboard contests are up here if you guys want to join. And also we have the Discord channel if you want to talk to some other bettors. So, Cade, take us home, man. But otherwise, have a great weekend, and thanks for tuning in.
For sure. And for my sickos in college football for tonight, honestly, I'm just curious. Real quick, what does that smart signal for the Kent State Central Michigan say? I'm just curious.
Well, I took Kent State plus 8.5 here, Cade. So let's see.
I did you one better. I took Kent State at the 8.5, and I bought the point. I took the 10.5. I got that on no big, and I took them outright.
Ooh,
took them outright.
I like it, man. I would take an outright win there.
For that,
well, it's nothing so far. So let's sweat this one. What's better than Maction, Cade, on a Wednesday night?
Absolutely nothing. But yeah, looking for another great weekend. Coming to a close. It's dark outside. It's roughly just past 7 o'clock. This is dumb, but love this time of year. Holidays are approaching, so yeah, we'll see you guys.
Sounds good. Yeah, we got to talk about next week because when's Thanksgiving? Is it next Thursday?
That is on Thursday. Yes. I don't know if
we got to. Maybe we'll go. Maybe we'll do another Wednesday show then. I don't know. We'll
Possibly.
see. But thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care.